Hey guys, and welcome back to a new accumulation zone trade recap. Let's get straight away started with the price action today on British pound US dollar on a 5-minute chart. So what we saw today was a very narrow consolidation during the Asian kill zone of only roughly 19 pips right here. So we consolidated during the Asian kill zone and we took out the Asian kill zone lows right here, went back inside of our range, and then we dropped below, filling in this fair value gap right here. From this candle's high to this candle's low, there's a fair value gap. That's smart money concept, ICT related. And after which buyers stepped into the market, buying prices back up higher. And we continued going back inside of our range. By the time we broke out through our high, once we took out the sell side liquidity down here, we already crossed over bullish. Let me zoom in here. And by the time we broke out, the stochastic RSI was already overbought. And by the time the market opened up, or the London kill zone opened up at 2 AM New York local time, also when the Frankfurt Stock Exchange is opening up here in Germany, we saw that the stochastic RSI was already in the overbought territory. So I quickly moved away from the British pound US dollar chart because this is not lining up with our entry criteria. So I switched over to the Euro US dollar chart and look at it right here. We had something very similar. We also left behind a fair value gap, but we did not get there to retest it. We took out the Asian highs right here that have been below the VWAP. We touched it and we got rejected all the time. Then at New York local time midnight right here. Now actually, let me set this to GMT -5 right here. We got our reset right around New York local time midnight, and we continued taking out the Asian session highs. We pulled back inside of our range and we saw a very similar pattern form on the Euro US dollar chart. We had this candle right here at 140 with this massive wick to the downside, which has been bought up very quickly, after which we continued going sideways, followed by a very bullish engulfing candle right here, also confirmed with a stochastic RSI crossover right here. I waited for the opening at 2 AM New York local time, since I was checking the British pound US dollar chart, and I already anticipated that this is not going to be a profitable entry, or let's not call it profitable, but a valid trade entry, because the stochastic RSI is already super close, being overbought right here above the 80 level. So I switched over to Euro US dollar and I saw everything signing up here. The stochastic RSI is still below the 50 level, and we just crossed over one candle ago. So we crossed over on the stochastic RSI on this candle. I waited for the entry right here. I decided to go for a 10 pip stop loss, and our first take profit target on Euro US dollar has been hit right here. And this was my whole thought process for this first trade of the day on Euro US dollar, because I did not get the setup on the British pound US dollar, because the stochastic RSI was already in the overbought territory. We also got a very similar setup right here on the Australian dollar US dollar chart right here on a 5-minute time frame. Also at 2 AM New York local time, we just crossed over one candle prior to that here at 155 with a super, I'd call it a momentum shifting candle right here. A 5-minute candle that closed above the VWAP, and that has been followed by another momentum shifting candle with almost no wick to the upside. So that basically means that no sellers stepped into the market pushing prices back lower. And basically after filling in this fair value gap right here that has been created right ahead of New York local time midnight, we broke out, we filled in this fair value gap, we broke out, we got our entry right here at 2 AM New York local time. Here on Australian US dollar, I would have went for a 15 pip stop loss, which would have hit a risk reward target of 2 to 1 risk to reward. So if we're going back to our British pound US dollar chart, we see that up until 3 AM New York local time, we did not get another bullish stochastic RSI crossover right here on our chart. We basically stayed above the 80 level right here on the stochastic RSI for the whole duration of this uptrend, which was a, let's move it from the low of the London kill zone right here, all the way to the high, a 55 pip move to the upside. Then we pulled back. We did not pull back by much, to be really honest, but we opened up here at 3 AM, which is the London stock market opening right here. We crossed over bullish, so I decided to this time take an entry on the British pound US dollar, because I was anticipating that this high right here, the New York kill zone high, and our previous day high right here that has been formed during the Asian kill zone right here, is likely to be taken out if the market already moved by 50 pips into the direction, pulling back. And right here, our 3 AM candle opening, also a bullish up close candle, closing above those most recent, let's say closing above our most recent highest closing price right here at 240. So I decided to go into this trade, sorry for that, and trade very quickly, took out the New York kill zone high and continued rallying up, hitting my 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. Very high probability setup because we are still below the previous day high. So I entered right here on this candle with the close above our most recent swing high right here, and I went for a 15 pip stop loss right here. So if this bullish engulfing candle right here would have been engulfed bearish, I would have decided to leave this trade, or basically exit this position as soon as my stop loss is being triggered. Risking 1% right here with my take profit target of 2-to-1 risk reward, still below our previous day high. Right here, this move to the upside to our previous day high, or the New York kill zone high, was all called out live in our Telegram group. So make sure you join our Telegram group if you want to get some insights of what I'm looking at here on pound US dollar, euro US dollar, or some other forex pairs. And what we see, we took out our previous day high by just a few ticks or something right here, our previous day high from our Asian kill zone high, basically from yesterday, the first trading day of 2023. And we got for the first time some big wicks to the upside within this massive trend to the upside. So we consolidated going sideways for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. And then I open up the Scalper Pro right here, and I know this is not going to be part of the stochastic RSI Scalper Pro strategy, but it's lining up perfectly. We took out the previous day high and we have been rejected from that. So I traded with a small pullback entry, basically I think around 0.25% risk of my whole account balance. I entered right here on this bearish candle. So if I'm turning off the Scalper Pro right here, we see this pin bar candle right here with that basically telling us that price tried to go up high again, but sellers stepped into the market, making this a down close candle, leaving behind this huge wick. And I decided to enter on this candle right here because I also saw the reversal opportunity with the Scalper Pro returning back into the Scalper Pro bands right here inside our bearish reversal zone. We also got a stochastic RSI crossover here at the bottom, which basically confirmed that this might be a small minor pullback. So what I did, I used the Fibonacci pullback tool right here. I basically drew my most recent swing low and swing high, and then I measured a pullback roughly to a 50 to let's say 61.8% pullback into this impulse move to the upside. So I took the short right here. Again, this is not part of the stochastic RSI Scalper Pro strategy. I think I closed it out at a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward because I did not anticipate a complete reversal to the downside. And yeah, so this was a beautiful reversal opportunity spotted by the Scalper Pro right here with a re-entry into the scalper bands right here inside our bearish reversal zone with a stochastic RSI crossover confluence for a nice little pullback trade right here. So now, after making 2% right here with this entry on British pound US dollar and this earlier entry right here on the euro US dollar chart, making a total net profit of 4% for the day, and with this small scalp here on this pullback with the reversal opportunity spotted by the Scalper Pro and also stochastic RSI. Not part of our continuation breakout strategy based on the Scalper Pro and stochastic RSI. where we used VWAP as a trend filter. I decided to stop trading because my daily take profit target has already been hit. We took out the previous day high, so I did not anticipate a continuation move further to the upside during the London kill zone, and we just continued with, let's say, rather small body candles inside of our most recent swing low to swing high right here. As of right now, it's 6:10 a.m. New York local time, so we're about to open up for the New York kill zone. But for this whole period, basically after 3:15 for the past 3 hours, we stayed inside our most recent swing high right here and our most recent swing low, which would have been right here. Since we already hit our previous day high and the New York kill zone, and we already made a move only during the London kill zone of almost, of 102.5 pips. This was enough for me. My daily take profit target has been hit, and I decided to stop trading and take my dog for a walk. Right here on EURUSD, I also did not continue trading because I saw this beautiful opportunity right here on British Pound US dollar. And as you know already, I'm focusing more or less on the British Pound US dollar chart here anyway. I only moved over to EURUSD this morning because at the time the London kill zone closed basically, or while it was forming, I already saw that the stochastic RSI was above the 80 level. Didn't make a difference because prices can still continue rising further to the upside, even though prices are relatively speaking overbought. But for a perfect trade opportunity, this was not the case. So I decided to move over to the EURUSD chart right here, where the stochastic RSI was still below the 50 level right here at the time of the opening for a beautiful 20 pip movement to the upside with a 10 pip stop loss. I also have an example on US30 right here, where we got a beautiful entry with a cross at 48. So if we hover at that cross, we see the value on the right side right here at 47.93 right here. So a cross below 50. We're above the VWAP, the Scalper Pro is bullish. So you could have had a potential entry right here because we pretty much saw the same thing. Soon as London kill zone opened up, we already been in the overbought territory. So we waited, or we would have waited for a pullback back below 50 on the stochastic RSI, which happened right here, with a crossover below the 50 level, which happened right here on this 5-minute candle. Our stop loss would have been at the most recent swing low for a, I think, 20 point stop loss or 20 pip stop loss right here, 19 points, for a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio to the most recent swing high right here on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Of course, if you have any questions regarding the stochastic RSI Scalper Pro strategy, make sure to join us on Discord or Telegram and just send the message or send your question into the chat, and I will be there to answer your question. You can also comment your questions down below in the description box, where you also find a link to the Scalper Pro 10-day free trial. Alright guys, that's it for me for today. That's a trade recap for the London kill zone. We see that as of right now, we are scratching this previous high that we formed at 3:15. So we will see what's going to happen. Relatively speaking, we're rather up high. We're still inside this bearish reversal zone. We're starting to form some divergence here with lower highs. But right here, relatively speaking, those highs are equal. And if we pull up the DXY, let me minimize the stochastic RSI, we see that we also are in some sort of a pennant right here, forming higher lows, but at the same time lower highs relatively to this high at 3:15. So we will see if we find some divergence in here, DXY divergence, for a potential reversal opportunity after this squeeze here that has been confirmed by the Scalper Pro for a reversal trade to the downside. We will see what happens. No one is able to predict the future. So take care guys and trade safe. I will be back tomorrow.